Hello everyone, my name is Harish, and this is Sammy, and this is Ajay. And for our capstone project, we've thought of a potential new treatment for partial complex seizures, and this would include repetitive transcranial magnetic stimulation and a Helmholtz coil.
We'd like to begin by defining epilepsy in general. Epilepsy is a neurological disorder marked by sudden recurrent episodes of sensory disturbance associated with abnormal electrical activity in the brain. More specifically, partial complex seizures, which we'll be talking about today. These seizures usually originate in the temporal lobe and involve movements that are organized but semi-automatic in nature, and the patient affected normally presents themselves in a dreamlike state. This type of epilepsy is typically treated with psychotropic drugs, which function by changing the way your brain cells work and send messages to each other. However, these drugs have side effects such as tiredness, weight gain, and depression. And in some cases, they don't even work. And we are presenting a new treatment, an emerging treatment called repetitive transcranial magnetic stimulation, or RTMS for short, in which magnets generate electromagnetic fields that stimulate neurons in regions of the brain where the seizure originates.
So what is repetitive transcranial magnetic stimulation? So RTMS for short is a non-invasive procedure that uses magnetic fields to stimulate the nerve cells in the brain. And this is usually used for a wide range of diseases, but in this case, we'd like to apply it to partial complex seizures. And it's typically used when other treatments aren't really effective. So why is this important? And especially with TMS applying to partial complex seizures where this research hasn't been done yet. So first of all, typical epileptic drugs have side effects, and this could include depression, weight loss, and other side effects. So in 30 to 40% of people with epilepsy, medication just simply fails to work, and it fails to keep seizures in control. So TMS hasn't been widely applied to partial complex seizures yet due to the fact that these typically originate in the temporal lobe, and this is pretty deep into the brain where TMS is usually happening in the surface, and it's used in the surface. So along with the Helmholtz coil, which we'll be using to apply the TMS deeper into the brain, and this will help regulate like the memory loss that can happen just with TMS and potentially cause Alzheimer's. So that's what the H coil helps with.
The goal of our experiment is to determine the effectiveness of inhibitory RTMS as a treatment for partial complex seizures. The materials to execute the experiment would include H-coil RTMS in combination with an EEG reading to monitor the electrical activity taking place in the brain and thus measure its effectiveness. Our target population includes people suffering from partial complex seizures. The independent variable would be the RTMS frequency, and the dependent variable would be the resulting number or severity of the seizures. We would also include a control group of people not receiving the RTMS treatment.
We determined that the appropriate sample size for this experiment would be 70 people after analyzing two related studies in which RTMS was used as a treatment for a form of epilepsy. One study suggested that 1 to 42 people would be too small, and then another study suggested that roughly 70 people would be just right. So our confounding variables, those are variables outside of our influence, and they affect independent and dependent variables. Those are the age of the participant and number of previous treatments. Some risks associated with this experiment include the use of TMS in combination with some drugs that can result in seizures, the depolarization of neurons, the accidental induction of seizures, memory loss since we're targeting the temporal lobe, which is responsible for memory, and the fact that the temporal lobe is out of reach since it's so deep into the brain. After this presentation, we're going to propose this experiment designed to the psychiatry department at Stanford in order to begin a clinical trial. If it's successful, our TMS can be implemented as a treatment in universities and hospitals, and we hope to publish these findings and replicate this experiment in order to ensure its accuracy.
So with that being said, this is where we're excited, and we'd like to give a big thanks to Dr. Louie, Dr. Williams, Dr. Cole, and finally Audie, our mentor, because they really guided us through the process and made the project possible. So we love to thank them. This is kind of like our logo that we made, and kind of just L and P, just if you see closely, there's like neural networks attached to it. So that just symbolizes neural networks running through the brain, and that's pretty much it.
Thank you.